What is going on, everyone? It's your boy B, Skeletor BSK, coming at you from the style of gaming. MediEvil Remastered for PS4 came out a little over a week ago, and I finally got some details to share. Curious if this classic PlayStation title aged well? Is $30 too steep for the experience? Is it worth your time and the laundry list of titles available this fall? Whatever reason you're here, this is Should You Buy in 5, MediEvil. MediEvil released October 25th and is a remake of one of the most iconic game series on the PlayStation lineup. This game came as a surprise announcement at one of Sony's State of Play Directs, leaving fans of modern remake gems like Crash and Spyro hungry for another old-school challenge. The narrative to MediEvil is pretty basic. Many years before the start of our journey, a necromancer named Zarok attempted to cast the world in darkness by waging war with an army of the dead. The would-be hero Sir Daniel Fortescue, alongside a set of noble heroes, fought Zarok fiercely and pushed him into hiding. Touted as the hero of Gallowmere, Daniel's legacy was to be cemented in the Hall of Heroes for eternity. An elaborate tale and an elaborate ruse, as Daniel was actually killed by the first arrow in the battle, but covered up by the King of Gallowmere. MediEvil's whole shtick is Sir Dan wants to redeem himself, and it's made painfully clear considering there's a gargoyle character dedicated to remind Dan throughout the whole game. But long story short, Zarok returns and casts another spell on the people of Gallowmere, turning the living mad and raising the dead, in this process awakening Sir Dan. Dan uses this opportunity to actually fight and defeat Zarok once and for all to earn his rightful place in the Hall of Heroes. The gameplay for MediEvil has always been the main appeal for this franchise, at least in my opinion. This hack and slash title poised itself to be an easy slash and complete, but MediEvil is deceptively challenging and punishes players that seek to rush through it quickly. The early portion of the game is far tougher than the latter as you build your hero armory. Sir Daniel starts with just his arm as a weapon, but has a relatively large arsenal of weapons to help throughout the journey. I really love how well they maintain the classic controls and the feel of the original, allowing D-pad or stick controls, but the pitfall of making a one-for-one remake, they brought forward some maddening bugs and developed a few of their own that made late gameplay infuriating. Traversal could sometimes be aggravating from getting stuck in jumps or just basic traversal. These control bugs were easy to overlook until later levels like the haunted ship level. My rage spilleth over when I just got stuck under a bridge, or I just couldn't walk over a log when my only objective was walking forward. There are some moments where new technical issues clashed with the original gameplay with mind-numbing results. My deaths were more times than not related to a technical issue rather than combat. The bugs are limited and don't occur at every level, but I feel a large level of inconsistency in gameplay made it hard for me to say if it was a me issue or the game. The most consistent problem which killed me too often was the insane camera movement. Whether it was forcing you to look at something or locking itself after leaving a building, the camera lock would influence and manipulate Stan's movement on the left stick, and I'd have to sit there and let it realize that I was in free camera, or it would just get stuck for me and I could walk off an edge. Each level is largely linear, but the map itself is rather expansive, some levels being larger than others. The actual number of enemies is impressive, and each new level really helps shake up the sometimes monotonous gameplay. I thought this was going to be an easy platinum, and it's definitely not. But it's not hard because of challenge, it's unnecessary repetition to achieve a carrot on a stick. Otherwise, this PS1 classic is going to deliver roughly 5 to 7 hours of a fresh experience. The graphics and music speak enough for themselves and serve as the strongest pillar of this remake. Unbelievably smooth visuals and animations, definitive and largely redefined texture maps, and updated models make the MediEvil remake an absolute beauty and a fantastic visual experience. The color palette in this game is phenomenal, and in a game that is largely childlike and visual, has an allure that is both unusual and uncanny. I like the fact that the spookiness actually exists within the enemies and environmental models. The lighting system in the game only cements the aesthetic and the mood. Each level has a different level of lighting volume that enforces that overall just feel for a game about the dead. There's just a surprising variance of warm and cool colors that work great together. I think the visual department was able to bring together this game in a way the original developers wanted to bring forward. The concept art for each loading screen per level is phenomenal and made loading that much more bearable. The music is eerie, lurking, and chilling when necessary, but heroic and triumphant when needed. The score is incredibly reminiscent of the original and maintaining each level's spooky intent, but with the modern production value that was a thrill to listen to when navigating the beautiful environment. All in all, when you look at the package, $30 doesn't seem so steep for one of the most iconic franchises and characters in the PlayStation lineup, but under the super delicious visual and audio presentation, behind the hacks and slashes of nostalgia, is a remake that delivers in some way, but disappointed me in more ways than not. The technical bugs make the straightforward gameplay incredibly annoying, from camera control to basic traversal. The payout in MediEvil is limited to your enjoyment of the original title, I think. The new bugs introduced aren't terrible. They caused me to replay some simple levels because of poor hit detection, which was really frustrating. When you compare this to a Crash or Spyro remake, for 10 extra bucks, we got 2 full additional games. I think if you've been clawing for this game's remake because you loved MediEvil Classic, with its flaws and all, the new bugs won't hurt your stride. But otherwise, the 5 to 7 hours of really frustrating play made the $30 tag seem like a bigger burden than the game itself.